If your wife aborts your baby, who's handing you the pamphlet for therapy? A miscarriage, on the other hand, the man still doesn't get told his options. I'm gonna hold your hand when I tell you this. No one is going to hand you a pamphlet for therapy in most cases. But also, even if someone were to do that, most people take that as an insult. Think about how often on this app people will tell someone who's annoying them to seek therapy or, I think you missed your meds today. They're never actually concerned about your mental health or sincerely think that you've forgotten your SSRI because chances are they don't know what an SSRI is. They're trying to make you feel bad. So most likely, if your wife aborted her pregnancy or had a miscarriage and you made a video about it, you would not take kindly to someone like me who's very pro-therapy. I literally just finished a therapy appointment like 5 minutes ago, commenting, have you thought about seeing a therapist? But as I said, most of the time, when you're going through a hard time, no one is going to hand you a pamphlet for the coping mechanism that would suit you best. Sometimes they will. The reason I started therapy at all is because my head of department kind of shoved me into a room with a therapist and locked the door. But after I graduated college, I didn't have access to that therapist that I was seeing. I thought I was gonna be fine. But it turns out after a lifetime of basing my self-worth on good grades and the compliments teachers and professors gave me, my mental health took a nosedive after graduation. For the most part, I only left my apartment to go to work. I was too frozen with anxiety to do anything else. Then in November of 2012, I literally collapsed in my apartment in tears because I couldn't figure out how to cook a turkey. And that's when I realized this is not normal, I need help. And you know who in that situation handed me the pamphlet telling me to go to therapy? No one. I did that. I also did that when I needed my first psychiatrist about 2 years later. And again, when I switched insurances and needed a new psychiatrist in the city. And then again in 2021 when I needed to find a couples therapist. I understand that when you're in crisis, it can be really challenging to advocate for yourself, especially with something like a therapist where the relationship with your therapist can kind of make or break the experience as well as your healing. But the bottom line is, for the most part, it's up to you to get your own help. And the thing is, if your wife or partner kept the pregnancy or the pregnancy did not miscarry, it would be up to you guys to find an OBGYN, a pediatrician, any specialist that your kid may have to visit. It seems like you want people to hand you resources, and that's not gonna happen. Nobody else is gonna do it for you. A pediatrician can write you a referral, but it's up to you to use that referral to do something and then to determine if the specialist is the right choice. No one is going to give you a solution. You have to find it yourself. You also said, in miscarriage, a man isn't told his options. What does that mean? I will never say that a miscarriage doesn't affect the partner who was not pregnant. Miscarriage is tragic for a wanted pregnancy. But I know this is going to sound harsh when we're talking about something like losing a pregnancy, but Google is free. You think it was easy for 22-year-old me to Google therapists and then call up a bunch of them? No, but I did it anyway because I needed to. People love to tell the younger generations that once you're an adult, nothing is going to be handed to you. That applies to this situation as well. But also genuinely, if you are part of a couple that is trying to get pregnant, I think it's probably a good idea to start meeting with a therapist or maybe a couples counselor when you're trying to conceive, or perhaps right after you've found out that one of you is pregnant. 30% of all pregnancies end in miscarriage. That is a huge percentage. And having a therapist who already knows a little about you and your situation can make going to therapy after a pregnancy is lost just a little bit easier. No one wants to struggle through an intake appointment while they're grieving the loss of their embryonic child. So in short, I think you should pre-prepare. But what do I know? I don't want kids. You know who handed me a pamphlet on how to navigate that? No one.